Attend hurt, Colonel James Rhodes. I am here to inform you that you are hereby named the Iron Patriot. No. My name is Benji, and this is the review of the War Machine Hero Pack and all its juicy signature, obligation and nemesis deck cards. Before the edutainment commences though, please do subscribe to the channel to envelop yourself in our magnificent bubble. And give that like button a good old roasting too. It helps out a lot. And with that, we welcome Alter Ego to the screen. All saluting and that. And oh my god, he has an Alter Ego action. That is going to have a wildly unpredictable return on investment unless you logic that shizzle. You see, these actions, which act as delayed recursion, but a card you presumably know you want back into a smaller pool of cards than you initially drew it from. And so, the smaller your current deck of cards, the better the value of this ability. Granted, putting a great card back in your deck is never a bad thing, but it's not necessarily going to be worth a trip back to Alter Ego now, is it? The 3 rec and 10 HP is not wonderful, and we'll get to ammo in a minute. If we flip to hero side now, we see the generous gift of 5 ammo counters bestowed upon us. A 1-2-2 basic power stat line is pretty underwhelming, but one can safely assume, much like his brother cousin Tony Stark, this little piggy's going to come with a fair few attachments and accessories. Now, what the Jiminy Cricket can we use these ammo counters on then? Well, not his signature ally, the Speak of the Devil Iron Man, that's for sure. A typically middle of the road 2 thwart, 2 attack and 3 HP for 3 coins is what it normally says on the tin. But we also get to search basically everywhere on the table for a tech upgrade. Taking this card from a, oh cool thanks, to a get in there boy. You know, full well tech upgrades are going to be a big part of his signature 15. And FYI, each of the 4 aspects have less than a handful of tech cards for you to choose from as well, most of which are in leadership. Very quickly before we move on, we've also got the in vogue team up card to go with these guys. 2 Against the World replicates Iron Man's Enter the Battlefield ability and allows you to ready both characters as the cherry. But these team up cards are only worth real consideration in multiplayer, and even then, do you both promise to take this card? I will if you will. 1 copy of Munitions Bunker sees you loading up on ammo when you're in James Rhodes and withdrawing them when you've got your suit and guns on. Which is to say that we are all still setting the scene. And quite frankly, we're edging towards a frenzy of anticipation at this point. How to put a value on this though? Well, the best way I see to look at it is how quickly do you spend the, at this point, mythical ammo counters. This will be judged by how meaningfully it extends the period in which you need to jump back to Alter Ego. Now please, for the love of God, let's get to the ammo. No! God damn you upgraded chassis, why don't you let me spend ammo? And to make matters bloody worse, you're giving me the aerial trait, which I swear better be referenced in the other signature cards, or I'm turning my back. So after you change to hero form, get a tough status. Great for absorbing villain damage for show, but to the tune of $3? Early game yes, mid game maybe, late game probably not. Oh ammo, where art thou? I forgot the bleed and obligatory give me resources card was bound to be in their early doors. Ooh, but there's 2 of them, and they're tech cards. Sweet delicious, fetch me some ramp, Iron Man. So for 2 beans you expect a wild resource with no strings attached, but whilst it has to be on a War Machine event, which I'm sure we're about to see plenty of, it does though come packed with 1 little copy of the fabled ammo tokens. Sweet. Moving on. Get in there, shoulder cannon, you precious little one of. So the first chip damage you get for free, after laying down the 2 shingles of course, and then you can spend an ammo at a time to keep at it. Now whilst this might feel a little bit underwhelming, Like anything in our hobby, a great deal is often achieved through efficiency, and so you could and should never underestimate 1 damage on tap and repeatable, being fantastic utility as both a finisher and removing tough statuses. Even if it's not great, this is a sleeper card whether you like it or not. Now the train's left the station, dear listeners, with 2 copies of Repulsor Beam, delivering an exceptional 4 damage return on investment, with the only added cost of free but albeit limited ammo. It's a little bit shy of being able to deal with Nemesis or Elite minions, and don't forget as well that the relative power of a card needs to be slightly higher the lower its cost, because, well, the card itself is part of the cost. But still, I'm happy with this, and with the resource generating cards you're bound to have on board, this is free damage almost. Another 2 of, this time a targeted strike gives you the same deal but with threat removal, except we only remove 3 threat, which is definitely par for similar yin damage and yang threat removal cards in other Identity Signature 15s. Would I prefer 1 of this and 3 of the Repulsor Beam though? Yes I would, but that's because I like to play on the brink. But beggars can't be choosers, and this is still a solid card, and quite importantly it allows you to tackle a medium amount of threat and do something else on your turn. Then we turn to a yes, this should have come earlier, but 1 copy of Missile Launcher is here for your situational needs, dealing 2 less damage than the Repulsor Beam for the same cost, but staying on board as a tech upgrade for your once a turn needs, but also bestowing the gift of ranged. Yeah, okay, this is neat enough. Gives you 1 more permanent ammo outlet, which you could very well need to sequence your turn and form flips appropriately. I'm cool with this. 2 copies of Scorched Earth with its dramatic name and semi-situational goodness are up next. And so far we've only been removing ammo counters 1 at a time. And here we are skipping 2 and going straight to 3, just so we can, if not board wipe, come pretty close. The value of this will of course be tied to how many enemies there are in play, so naturally in multiplayer this is going to have a higher degree of targets, but in minion heavy scenarios at higher player counts this could be death incarnate. And so as to finish on a high, the deck brings another 2 of Full Auto. With its subtle and unassuming artwork, one could reasonably assume that thematically speaking, this is how War Machine goes beast mode. And the text box does its best to reflect that. 4 ammo this time equals 8 damage and overkill for 2 rubles. Man, that seems really good. Obviously the card cost is discounted because of the ammo, but I keep coming back to the fact that ammo is free, albeit limited only to the tune of tempo loss. I don't see this as being anything other than one of the best damage dealing cards in the game. You've still got 1 or 3 ammo left, dependent on Munitions Bunker being on board. Oh, and the overkill's just the cherry on top. What a great way to end the signature cards. We then have his obligation equipment malfunction, and at this point the way I see it we have 3 categories of obligations, the bulk of which are thematically and mechanically pointless, outside of tempo loss. The ultra rare thematically cool and mechanically impactful obligation, and this, the middle ground, which is mechanically meh and thematically consistent, but still bloody boring to look at. War Machine's nemesis, the living laser, might look like a menacing Teletubby, but he's giving you a free thwack before you get to say absolutely anything about it. Not only that, it says jog on to any tough statuses you acquired from your upgraded chassis. The price for his hastiness looks to be that decidedly manageable 4 hit points. Welcome Tinky Winky to my Repulsor Beam. Now, his accompanying side scheme Deadly Light Show might sound like a clickbait title, but it has a super retaliate effect on it, meaning it's conversely quite tame in solo play. But crisis icons can't be ignored forever. What they can be though is ignored until you deal with the old living laser over there. Finally, the remainder of the Nemesis 5 all look like this card, Laser Strike, which again to be fair is thematically welcome design, but this time can really kick you in the chads, especially if you're drawing multiple of them, which is quite probable being a 3 of. One parting piece of advice, don't sleep on that boost effect. Defend yourself. And that, at least for this Hero pack, is that. It's so basic power stat line was more than made up for with those tech and event cards that are by and large really impactful for their cost. It's going to feel good playing him, that's for sure. Yes, there'll be some tempo loss from having to restock your ammo, and at 10 HP you're not particularly resilient, but to me the pros nicely outweigh the cons. Alas, I've been the voice of Benji, and this video has ended.